I asked her calmly, choose between your husband or your so-called cult. She did not answer and went to her cult. Dear listeners, today we take a look at a story of betrayal and deceit by a wife of over 20 years as she goes out on her marriage for her cult. We have crossed 1,500 subscribers and are now racing towards our first 2,000. Your one click to subscribe us would go a long way for us. Thanking you in advance. Now, let's get on with the story. I'm Ted, 44 years old. I work as an accountant at a local firm, and my ex-wife Kathy was 40 when we got separated. Kathy and I, high school sweethearts, tied the knot at 21. Life took an unexpected turn when we faced infertility issues. 2 miscarriages and a surgery later, we learned that parenthood wasn't in the cards for us. Our religious inclinations led us to attend church on Sundays. We never had children, but our bond remained intact. In the midst of our challenges, Kathy faced a tough battle with depression. The weight of infertility and the surgeries took a toll on her mental well-being. Recognizing the need for support, we made the decision to seek therapy. Therapy became a turning point. Slowly but steadily, Kathy began to recover. I took Kathy out and used to treat her as she was my new girlfriend. Getting her flowers and gifts for no reason. Going out to open-air theater like teen couples. Things got better, and the best part was the intimacy. It had increased, and initially I absolutely loved it. Our life was going fine, but I still saw her sad at times. One day I had a discussion with Kathy and asked her what is going on with her. She informed that she is anxious at times and finds it difficult to concentrate on things. I explained that she needs to control her emotions, so let's try some meditation. We met a common friend and he helped Kathy join a yoga class. Things did improve. Kathy has in a good mood and intimacy was also great. A few weeks later, Kathy told me that a new guru is coming to the yoga studio and he will be talking about life and happiness. Although I am not against any of that happiness session, but I was a bit skeptical as one of my uncles was once involved with such a guru. His name was Rajneesh. Things did not go as planned and he was later in prison. As we came to know, he was mind-washed to an extent that he almost became a criminal. Somehow, I was convinced to attend that session by my wife. I was okay and he did not speak anything that was new for me. Kathy, however, was impressed and joined in for the local branch. I was not happy in Kathy and I had a big fight. I told her that it was not necessary for her to be part of cults. She fought back saying that I do not want to see her happy. Eventually I had to give in and Kathy joined. I knew this was a bad idea and really wanted her not to join that cult. Kathy used most of her time to be at the local office but came back by evening. I did not find that alarming. However, a few days later there was a big change. Kathy refused intimacy, stating that she is practicing abstinence. I was surprised. She stated that it is her way of channeling her energy into something greater. That was a big red flag. Refusing intimacy, as someone told her, is a big alarm. Next morning, I spoke to Kathy and told her that a husband and wife are there for each other and her antics are going to cause a big problem if this continues. She called me a sinner and said that I want to derail her from her path. I screamed, "What path?" She said, "Path to God." I explained that path to God are good deeds and an honest life. Not having intimacy with your husband is not getting you a pass to heaven. The argument went into a screaming session and the neighbors had called cops on us. The cops came in and I had to explain that we were having just a quarrel and there is no violence. Kathy was also questioned and she did tell the cops that there was no violence. The cops left warning me to keep things civilized. I had not told them why we were arguing. There was a lull in the fighting and a week had passed, with Kathy not changing her ways. Kathy meanwhile had become the cult's social media spokesperson and sort of a mascot. In one of her videos she said,
"I've done this whole celibacy journey 3 different times now. Twice I did it for a year and I'm currently on 8 months and everyone always asks me like, how do you do that? Like, how do you not go crazy? I'm just more or less like on a wave right now where I don't want temporary people touching my mind, body, or my soul, and I feel like you don't even deserve to touch me like, and I say that in the humblest way possible, but I just feel like you don't get access to me like that. You don't get temporary access and then not have to do anything for it. I am close to God as I am pure."
Temporary. I am your husband, not some boy you hired from the street. She bloody met this guru a few months ago, and now she has started lying for him. I knew that something had to be done, else my marriage is ending soon. I tried to find out details about this so-called guru. I searched online and found that he had a lot of abuse charges against him in his native country, and he was out of bail. I collated all the articles and sat down with Kathy to discuss. She was having none of it. She explained that all famous men have charges against them as people are jealous of them. I explained that there are women who have come out with evidence against him. She dismissed all such charges as nonsense and fake. I knew it was useless. She has been brainwashed, and now I have lost another one to the cults. My neighbor told me that there's some strange people coming to my house when I am away and they are not happy with their presence. I told them that I will get that sorted. I knew that I had to make arrangements to be ready for the worst. Next morning, I sat Kathy down one last time and told her that it is time to choose. Your husband or your cult? Well, here I am sitting with my lawyer formulating plans to save my hard-earned money from my wife. Yes, you guessed it right, Kathy did not choose me. That fateful day she did not answer my question and went to her so-called office. I had my answer. My lawyer suggested that I need to install security cameras in and around my house, and this has to be done immediately and without Kathy knowing about it. He also asked to put all my calls to recording just to ensure all calls are recorded. The very next day, while Kathy was out, I ensured that every inch has been covered by the cameras. I even had some mics added for good measure. Next day told Kathy that I want a divorce and asked if she had any demands. Kathy was shocked. I did not expect that her actions would lead to this. She started crying and said that she does not want to get separated and instead wants me to join her in her work. I told her that her word does not put bread on the table and would only end up in a jail or me homeless and on the streets. She kept crying and said that I need to reconsider my decision and I am committing a sin. Yes, Kathy, there is a sinner in the room. I tried to get your brain in place, but I failed and I gave up because you will not make any effort to be with your husband but with some criminal cult leader. You chose to force your husband into your so-called spiritual abstinence and bring your cult in my house. I told her to keep her nonsense out of my home and never dream of me joining her shenanigans. I calmed down and asked her again what are her demands for our separation. She did not speak and this time, at the middle of the night, went to her cult. I did not stop her. All hell was about to let loose. Next morning, I saw a video where Kathy had a black eye and was crying and accused me of being an abusive husband and even went ahead of forcing myself on her. They even filed a criminal case on me. I was arrested. I was produced in front of a judge and I was in for a shock when I was told that they did a test on my wife and found that the doctors confirmed that Kathy indeed was abused. However, My lawyer was able to prove that it did not happen on the day that Kathy claimed it happened. We had video evidence that Kathy was unharmed and intact when she left the house. I was a free man within a day, and now it was my turn. I served Kathy with the divorce papers and added mental torture by charges for good measure. Since the video evidence was available and it was clear with the doctor's report that Kathy was being intimate with someone, she was now the abuser and the cheater. I received multiple threat calls asking me to not divorce Kathy and take her back. I was shocked at the extent of malice and evil Kathy was involved with. I called the cops and pressed charges for threat and criminal intimidation. Few people were arrested and sentenced. My divorce case was filed and I was waiting for the final hearing. A day before the final hearing, Kathy was arrested along with all the members for criminal conspiracy, and the charges included human and drug trafficking. I got a collect call from a prison. I answered. It was Kathy crying and telling me that I was right and please come and save her. I did not say anything and hung up. My time to talk was over. Although Kathy was not available next day for the final hearing, I was granted divorce, and now with the new development that she was involved in illegal activities, the judge did not grant her anything from my assets. I guess that cult indeed made her homeless and penniless. 3 years later I did get married again, and yes, now I do have a 1-year-old son as well. Fate works in weird ways. Kathy is still in jail and I guess she will be there for a long time.